This is going to be the final solo floors for the legendary Witch Queen campaign. Obviously, I've uploaded the entire campaign, the other 7 missions. This is the final one to do. So I thought I would include commentary on this one because this is going to be the most interesting one for people to watch. Because it's by far the longest mission. It's got the most bosses if you counted Savathuns more than once. And it's a super long mission. And it's obviously one of the best missions that we've had. So this is just going to show you basically the solar flawless on that and how it's changed compared to when it first launched. When it first launched, this mission in particular was quite difficult to do, and a lot of teams day one, the day one experience, were struggling with doing this because obviously the scaling and stuff like that. If you didn't know, in this particular activity, it's unique to this campaign only, this activity only, is that the bosses are tuned health wise, stuff like that, whether you're solo or team, right? So a lot of people say that it's probably easier to solo it than it is in a team, and I would probably agree with that. But it depends though as well. If somebody's never soloed something, then it may be better for them to do it in a team because then they can rely a little bit more on their teammates. But if you're accustomed to Destiny, then it's probably easier for the solo. So I would sort of split up this mission up in 3 parts, 3 main parts. So it's the first part's the main tower. The second part is meeting Savathun and actually facing her the first time. And then the third phase I would regard is the island at the very back of the map when we get to near the end of the mission. So this is Ikora just opening up the door here. We could Chaos Reach. Hang on a minute, she's just Nova bombed and then she's going to Chaos Reach. How has she switched the class so fast? But anyways, so you just need to obviously follow the checkpoint markers. Pretty straightforward. Obviously, I'm on the strongest class to do this. The reason why I went with that over like a Warlock and a Hunter run is because I went with the easiest class possible to feel for the views on YouTube. Right? As I'm not going to invest 3 subclasses worth of content to something that isn't going to be as popular. It was more to pique my interest really to see how difficult it is, because I don't see many people running the Legend Witch Queen campaign nowadays. The Legend version, obviously the version that caps you at 1350. This isn't obviously the standard campaign, so it's always relevant to do this campaign. You can always do it, and you're never going to have any power gains in it, right? There's going to be a Guardian spawn at the back of the map. We've saved a Thundercrash for that. The setup hasn't changed much. The only thing is I've changed I have actually changed the exotic primary to Wish Ender as opposed to the Storm Silver. Storm Silver wouldn't be as good in this because it's an art rifle and you're fighting from range quite a bit of the time. So I figured I'll put a bow on. That was the first thing. The next thing is that I wanted a rocket launcher on, which I used the Sleepless Demo Track and Roll, which is really good. It's a really good roll for this because it tracks Savathun and Demolitionist reloads the weapon, which I'm going to be throwing a lot of storm grenades obviously on Titan. Make sure you rally here because if you've got no heavy it can be a bit of a nuisance, so make sure you do. So this is what I regard to be the first phase of the entire mission, right? You've got to scale this tower, right? But obviously you've got to take out the 2 crystals. Now if you know the mechanics, that's fine, you can brush over this and maybe skip to the latter end of the mission if it's more interesting. But for those who don't, or haven't run this, basically you just need to clear the wizard out on left and right side. That will then open a doorway, right? I recommend you clear out all ads as well, because the acolytes, if you leave acolytes up, they'll mess with you later on. Now remember the symbols you just saw at the top of that door. So the symbols I just saw at the top of that door is what I need to look for once I've destroyed all these crystals up top. So there's the base floor and then the top floor. The top floor is where you actually shoot the crystals. So obviously there's going to be 3. Right, you shoot those. You'll then get a symbol per door. So if you actually have a look at the doors, you'll get a symbol for every crystal you take out. So obviously you need to do 3. I'm going to use a rocket here just to take out this ogre. There'll be shriekers. That was another reason for the rocket and the bow, because you can just quickly deal with shriekers and stuff. And the rocket comes in handy later on, so that's why I went with just a rocket. To open the crystal, obviously you just need to clear out the enemies on that side. So there's left, middle and right. That's literally all there is. There's not much threat here, especially on this class. The biggest threat is the fairies going in too hard and them exploding on you, so just be careful with them. If you're in doubt, you can actually tank an explosion from them by guarding with your glaive. We've changed the glaive as well from an arc one to a solar, just because there's that many solar shields. I didn't have to really do that, but I just put it on. I could have still used the arc glaive just about and got away with it, so, but I just put it on because there's that many solar shields. It would be kind of silly not to, so I put it on anyways. Take out the remainder of these adds. Sometimes they'll freak out like that, the fairies. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to leave it. So we'll get the final crystal. Then this will then have 3 symbols above the door. Right? Actually, we've missed... Have we missed the crystal? No, we haven't. So that was our symbol. Luckily, we're very lucky. The first door that I looked at... So on that phase... You've got to look for the door that was originally the symbols when you walk through the initial door on bottom floor. Now it might not be on the side that you were on. It is RNG. There's a couple of doors. There's like 3-4 doors per side, roughly something like that. But that's just the mechanic of this. At least it's got a mechanic though, so I'll applaud them for that. And bear in mind, this is just the first. This is just one section of the mission, right? We'll take out the other side, wizard. Obviously, the orb that I just dunked, that will actually take down the shields on one of the crystals next to the boss that's on bottom floor. What I'm doing now, though, in all seriousness, if you want to have it okay for the boss DPS, clear out all the ads now. Because when you come back here, all the ads will still be there. So they interfere with your damage a little bit. You could rocket yourself on them or whatever. Or you could get weak from Curse Thrall and then the Acolytes finish you off. So actually just clear the entire bottom floor out. It'll do yourself a favour for later on. Not that you need to do that, I'm just giving a little extra tip. So it's just rinse and repeat really. Same thing, obviously I was to look at the symbol at the top of my door, see what that is. And it's just a case of clearing out all the ads, get the crystal. We'll let the storm do the work for us. That's one side done. There's a shrieker always on the other 2 sides. There's actually a good time to use rockets here because you can't get a good storm on the wizard because the wizard is actually floating. So your storm would just actually fall down to the bottom of the map. So it's good just to rocket them, to be honest. Wishen are doing good damage. Wishen are actually doing decent in this. It actually almost one-shot shriekers and stuff. So it's a decent option in this. It literally is. Lord Monarch would have worked well, as well, to be honest. But obviously, I'm using a glaive, and there isn't a kinetic glaive. And I'm going to stick to the theme of using a glaive because I've used a glaive on every mission throughout the entire thing. Just as I say, trying to promote them, show them off, because they are one of the best weapon types in the game. They're very, they've got a lot of utility. You know, they've got infinite damage via their melee combo. Not their range attack, but their melee combo doesn't consume any ammo. Right? Very good for high health targets. The guard obviously is insane. The damage resistance that you get off that. Especially Unstoppable Force style glaives. Very good. So now we're just looking for... unfortunately, it's the worst door you can get. So I got lucky on the first room and then not so lucky on the next one. But that's alright, as long as we get the correct room. This is now for damage. So notice there's no ads. The room is entirely clear because we cleared that out before. But there will be a spawn of cursed. Just be careful because if you want the soul floors, don't die to those. We'll lead with a storm and a super. Basically clears out the boss. We're gonna rock it, but the boss was dead before then, so don't forget your finisher kill. Obviously, you need to remember that mechanic. And that's what I would consider phase 1 of the mission, right? Phase 2 of the mission is you're going up this lift and confronting Savathun for the first time properly. Like the proper version. There'll be an interlude section here with a couple of ads and an ogre to kill. You can actually skip all that stuff and just go up the lift. You'll see what I mean when I get there. It's a shame there's no sort of platinum rank in these. That would be a game changer. If you could actually farm the legend campaign for Ascendant alloys. I know you can do it on master difficulty, but let's be honest, I think this is better than the master mode, or what master should have been is contest mode. That's what master difficulty should have been. Basically, you are always locked at 1350 on the master difficulty. I know why they haven't done that, because it's linked to pinnacles, so when people are leveling, they wouldn't like that mechanic of, oh, my power level's now 1350, what's the point in this? I'm trying to level and do pinnacles, but that's just an afterthought to make it a pinnacle drop. I'm glad it is a pinnacle drop, but obviously when Lightfall comes, it won't be. Because whenever it's linked to the expansion, it is a pinnacle drop for 12 months. Throughout all the seasons, which is handy for leveling, but I think it would be better farming the legend mode for Ascendant alloys, not the master difficulty, or from both. Maybe master difficulty gives you like 1 Ascendant alloy, and then this one can give you up to 2, double the rewards or something. Because literally you don't get anything. I think you just get upgrade modules. That's it. I'm on about repeat clears. That's what I'm on about. I didn't see there was any place for a banner. There might be, but I've missed it. So I've actually started this with no heavy. So if there was a banner circle there, then I've missed it. But I didn't see it. You would think there would be, because obviously this is like the phase 2, if you like. But so this section here, really, what I suggest that you do for an easy clear, not for a speedy clear, but for an easier clear, is to take the boss slowly for HP. At around half HP or so, you'll get some adds and an ogre. You don't want the ogre alive when the Hive Guardians spawn in, which they spawn in when the boss is below 3rd HP. So you want to deal with the adds first. Acolytes and stuff on one side and an ogre. There'll be an ogre spawn on another side of the map. On the other side. Just when I do more damage. So what's Storm Grenade like for tracking the boss? It's not bad, but it's also kind of difficult with the boss. The boss does move around quite a bit, but obviously when the storm is tracking and a good storm's hit on that boss, it does huge damage. Right. We'll take down the ogre and the adds, the same thing. Playing on the outskirts is the play here. Especially if you say playing on maybe a warlock, maybe not as strong as the titan, then this is what you would do. Play on the outskirts, use the cover here. This is your best place to play from. Stormgrade's stuck on that tree a little bit, but it's starting to do damage to the boss. The boss will actually go immune and retreat. When the boss goes, that's when you get the Hive Guardians. Now the Sentinel spawns middle. Okay, the left side from where I'm looking right now is the Wizard. And then the right side is the Blade Barrage Hunter style Guardian. So I recommend that you save a super to take down the Sentinel. The Sentinels are the most threatening Guardian of the 3. In my opinion, with number 2 probably going to as threatening the solar guy and then the wizard. The wizard is easy to control. We're going to use a bit of glaive here, because if the wizard does get a lot of damage on us, then we can at least block all that damage. So the glaive there's showing you how good that is. What slowed this little section down for me is because I started with 1 rocket. That it might be my fault, there might be a banner there, but We'll get a shoulder charge here as well. Use the glaive. Look at that. We're literally taking no damage at all. And then we get the finisher kill. The boss will then spawn back up. We've saved one rocket. Well, we didn't save it, but we've got a rocket here to use, so we may as well, because the boss will intentionally spawn off the map. The reason for that is because the ghost, Savathun's ghost is there, so it's intentionally like that for the player to say, well, how the hell am I going to crush the ghost? Well, you can't, because it's in midair off the map, and it's meant to be like that. That's why I just quickly use the rocket just to finish the boss off. And then that's phase 2 complete, right? Phase 3, I believe, of the mission is where the island at the very back of the map. So that's that little section done. I can see that being difficult to some people. Like, I am playing on the best class here, I understand that. A Warlock would struggle a little bit more. A Hunter would struggle a little bit more. Not struggle, but it wouldn't be as effective as the Arc Titan. Unless you're using, like, Assassin's Carl, one-punch shotguns and stuff, then that's fair enough. Warlocks, beyond Arc 3.0, it ain't going to be a decent run for you. I wouldn't recommend doing it on Arc anyways. Do it on Void with Devour. Or Well Radiant Soul 3.0 for Warlocks. For Titan, this is the best class. I mean, I wouldn't bother Sentinel, Behemoth, none of those stuff. While Storm Grenades are as powerful as they are, get this done. Because I know there's people still wanting to do this mission solo flawless. And there's people still not done it. So this is your time to do it, especially if you're a Titan main, while Titans are as strong as they are. So this is the first time you meet the boss on this particular island. From what I've noticed, you just do damage to the boss until dialogue starts. I don't know whether the dialogue's on a timer, but I was just damaging the boss until... Because there's nothing you can do here until there's dialogue. So I'm just doing a bit of damage. Obviously, I think what they do, what's happening is the game is showing you that Savathun is tanky without a buff. See, this mission's very well designed because as everything's going on, the game is showing you the mechanics phase by phase, so that you have to kill your priority key targets. That you've got to get the Frag Cutter buff, right? What moves the boss has, so Nova Bomb ranged, then Nova Warp, has the Blade Barrage thing. Is it Blade Barrage or is it yeah, it's like a Blade Barrage type thing or whatever you call it, or Daybreak, one of the two. I don't know what it is. I think it's Blade Barrage. So it's just showing you the moves of the boss, right? So it's just each phase is giving you a little bit more information, so it's actually really well designed. We're just defeating the copies of Savathun, which they spawn on the outer ring of the map, not in center. That is another hint to show you how it's going to work at the end, because that's where you'll get your buffs from, on the outer ring of the map, not on the inside. We'll disrupt the ritual. I didn't know there was an ogre spawn there as well. That's fine, we were guarding just in case the ogre saw us. So these are the interlude sections where it's showing you that when you kill a wizard, you get Frag Cutter. See on the left hand side, so that's your buff. This stacks up to 3 times. When it stacks up to 3 times, you then get a timer. Can't mind how long the Frag Cutter timer is. Is it 30, 40 seconds? We'll find out soon enough. I just couldn't remember. But that's the time you'll have to damage the boss on the final phase of Savathun. Now I end up technically solo one phase, and I've looked at a couple of videos, like of recent times, not when it first came out, but now, well, people regard a solo one phase where you do the initial phase where you get 10 seconds, and then they kill them after that. They regard that as solo one phase. I mean, it is solo one phase kind of, but there's a kind of pseudo phase at the start, which I actually killed Savathun in that 10 seconds, but not on. It wasn't on this difficulty. It was on a lower difficulty. I don't know if you can kill her within the 10 seconds. Probably in a team. I'm not sure. Like within the 10-second melt. Yeah, I'll point that out when we get to it. What I'm on about. So that's the first interlude section done, where you go into the towers. You just literally go into the portal, killing your wizard, picking up the buff, and then you return here, right? Then we go back to the art. There's a lot of different phases in this, right? You go back to the island. I think you confront the boss again. So then the game says, right, you've seen how much damage you do to the boss with no Frag Cutter. Here's the damage you do with Frag Cutter. So it's showing you before and after. So it's genius, this mission, how they've woven story into mechanics. Because that's what they do. They've done that for the longest time, ever since day one. They do that. They teach you stuff on the go. So now I've got Frag Cutter, so you can see now my damage is going to be a little bit more than what it was on the first time we come here. So now you've just got to do, I think you've just got to do damage until the line. That line, if you see on the boss's HP there. So we'll just do a bit of damage. There's no rhythm to that, because this isn't actually damage. This is just showing you how damage would work. So boss is immune, so that's right. You just take them to the line, and then you get ported. This is the second phase of the interlude section with the towers. The difference now is there's Curse for all, and there's a copy of Savathun each time you take one of the wizards. Now, if you notice my build, I have high energy fire on, which makes the solo one, well, technically, let's just say it is solo one phase for the purpose of the video, the solo one phase easier because obviously 20% damage bonus to your weapons. You get that initial 10 seconds, and then after that you get your 40 or whatever it is. When he comes out, when he comes up, I'll point it out. But it just I mean, it's not hard to solo one phase the boss. It definitely isn't. As I said, the boss is tuned to solo HP anyways. Like, the boss has less HP. It's easier to deal with the boss solo as opposed to team. I remember teams day one struggling to get the damage in on the boss. Because it's like, well, when are we damaging? There's so many odds. There's this, that, and the other. But again, it's first experience. That's when you, that's when it's most fun, when you're first experiencing the mission. And a lot of teams struggle day one. The team struggled the entire first week. I remember it because I do keep on top of stuff and following what people were doing. And people were struggling with the mission in general. You can always tell if LFG is just convoluted with people asking for this campaign mission over and over. And they were. They don't ask for it now as much, but they still do. Sometimes pops up on LFG. Whether they still need it for the emblem, because you get an emblem obviously when you complete the campaign on Legend mode, which it's a good looking emblem. I just wish that there was a solo flawless one as well. If there was a solo flawless one, I would have been all over it day one. But I went the team route. I went experience it as a team, and lo and behold, it was harder as a team anyway. So as you can see, you're still getting your copies. Wish End is doing well here from a ranged damage. I think that is not, no, that's not the final tower. So this is where you need to take note. If you're gonna actually copy what I'm doing, make sure that you maintain charge with light after the final wizard is killed. Well, not after the final wizard, but after the final copy of Savathun's is killed, because you'll kill this you'll kill the wizard. You'll get your Frag Cutter, yeah. You'll then pop back to middle. There'll be another copy, but there's some Thrall, so you can quickly grenade those Thrall, get some Elemental Wells going. So I'm going to quickly take down the copy, then get some Elemental Wells. So I've maintained charge of light. I've still got it. That means I've got a high energy fire. I have no heavy, but that's fine, because there definitely is a place to put banner in for recharge on heavy, which you definitely need to do. I wouldn't start this without heavy, because you'd make it a two-phase. Yeah, it would be more phases than what I do. As I said, this is regarded as a solo one phase. When people upload solo one phase Savathun, this is how they do it. They have the 10 seconds initial Frag Cutter, and then they regard, when you're actually killing all the wizards the first time and you go back to middle, they regard that as solo one phase. I mean, I kind of think it's not a true one phase, but you know, it's the easiest way of dealing with this fight. So I'm going to do some switches. I'm going to switch off the bow. Don't need the bow anymore. I'm going to put on Witherhoard, right? And I'm going to use I didn't need to do this, but you can do it if you want. Before you Baron, you can get more rockets. You don't actually really need to do this. It isn't too much of a problem. So I've now got 9 as opposed to 7. Then you can switch, right, to my double seasonal mod and then back to my Seismic Wells. And this is how damage should go. So obviously we've got 20% damage bonus. You've got 12 seconds, but the timer, the boss is immune for like 3 seconds. So look at Fred Cutter on the left hand side. So we start with Witherhoard, Rocket, Grenade, Rocket, Super. If you do all of that, you've probably done enough damage. I'm going to do an extra rocket here. The buff was over there by that time though, the Fred Cutter. Obviously we've got a demo rocket to pull that off. That is a good DPS combo that we just did. There'll be other combos that are better than this, like using Parasite and stuff like that. Parasite melts his boss, which I made a video about that ages ago when Witch Queen first came out. But we're not here to, like I said, get maximum damage. We're just here to it was just to finish off the solo flawless on the missions. So the boss is a 3rd. If you can get down to even a W, I've gotten down to the W before. But taking off a 3rd's good because, as I say, you're going to have much more time on the actual first phase of the fight when you get all your Fred Cutters. Don't clear out all the wizards yet. This is the strat. Obviously, I'm using Ashes to Assets with the Storm Grenade set up so that I can get increased super regen on grenade kills. And what you're going to do is just run around the map and get your super. Now look at the bubble around the boss as well. So there's the bubble, which I really like this mechanic. You have to stand in that bubble to get your damage out. It's a good job they've done that mechanic, because imagine if it wasn't, you could just stand at the back of the map and rocket. I do believe rockets to be the best sort of weapon type to use on this boss, not linears. Although linears are good damage, the boss just moves about too much, means that you've got to move around a lot. So it promotes grenade launcher, rocket launcher playstyles. We've got our super, but what I also recommend is clearing out the entire set of enemies. I actually thought these enemies were going to be infinite, but they're not. They will stop coming. So just take out all the acolytes. There'll be a couple of curse. Definitely take out the curse and stuff like that. We've got super, so we're ready. We're on Fred Cutter times 2. We've left a wizard alive. That is key. If you kill the final wizard, your timer starts. So don't be doing that either. Leave the final wizard up until you're ready, until the room is prepped. I know it's not a room, but the area is prepped. Obviously, we're going to keep Witherhoard on. Witherhoard is decent against the boss. It's not too bad. And it's a good combo with rockets. You could use Galahorn in this. Galahorn's an actual fantastic pick. Might be better than what I use, to be honest, but it would have the same outcome. But Galahorn's actually good in this. I've seen a couple of people use that. So we're now ready for damage. Right, so I've killed the final wizard. Timer starts on the left. You can't even see the timer. So it started there at 40. So there's probably 50 seconds or something. Or 45 seconds. So this is where the damage comes in, right? Obviously, try to hit your Witherhoards. I missed a couple of Witherhoards, which lost me damage. That's why you save for super. Right? And then it's just Witherhoard, Grenade, Rocket. Same combo as before, essentially. Hothead, not Hothead, Sleepless is doing massive damage. Any rocket that you want to use will work in this. I just used a demo rocket because it was just convenient with spamming the storm grenades. But that was a solo flawless on this final mission. I'll just let this cutscene play out. I quite enjoyed doing it. I don't know if I'll do it on all the other classes. Right, it was just to sort of test the waters with it, but hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Isn't this interesting? I miscalculated. So did you, Guardian. So protective of your traveler that you wouldn't let me keep it safe. But the witness is coming. The game is yours to play now. Yours to win or lose. Just don't say I didn't warn you.
No. Where did her ghost go?
Guardian, I just got the message. The Traveler is back in the last city. Is it done? Is Savathun...
She's dead. But her ghost got away.
Good enough. Hold your position. The Hidden are coming to secure the remains. Good work, Guardian. You did the right thing.
Now what?
Now, we prepare for the Witness and stop the next collapse.